Christian Kings of the British Isles, Part 4, Kenneth MacAlpin. The Scots came to Scotland originally from Ireland. You can find this story on the webpage Adam to Brian Boru, the Irish Kings. The Scots were descended from Noah through his son Japheth and through Japheth's son Magog. They settled in what is now Ireland, but as their numbers increased, many of them moved to the Hebrides and from there to North Britain, what we now call Scotland. If you want to know more about the history of the Scots, I have produced a video called Adam to James VI, the Scottish Kings. Also, there is a complete chart of the Scottish Kings on the Useful Charts page of the website. So here we are looking at just one king who is generally regarded as the founder of the Scottish nation as we know it today. His name is Kenneth MacAlpin. He was born on the Island of Iona, the centre of Celtic Christianity, in 810 AD. The monastery was founded in 563 AD by the monk Columba, also known as Colm Cille, if I pronounced that right, who sailed there from Ireland to live the monastic life. As I have said elsewhere, early Celtic Christianity had roots going back to the various earliest times of Christianity, when the faith originally spread from Jerusalem in a time of the Book of Acts. Iona became a renowned centre of learning, and its scriptorium, the room set aside for writing, produced highly important documents. Growing up in this place, Kenneth must have been imbued with a deep sense of Christian spirituality throughout his formative years. Kenneth's father was Alpin mac Echdach, the king of Dai Riada, which existed in what is now western Scotland. After his father's death, Kenneth succeeded him as the king of Dal Riada. His coronation took place in 840 or 841 AD. Kenneth had many threats to his kingdom. As with the other kings in his series, he had to deal with marauding Vikings who had invaded the western territories of Dal Riada, the area we now know of as the Hebrides. Also, much of Scotland was inhabited by the Picts, whose land was more fertile than Kenneth's kingdom, which was comparatively barren. The Scots and the Picts had historically tried to divide up North Britain between them, but ultimately their relationship was marked by violent conflict. The Picts were known for being naked, violent, and covered in tattoos. The Pictish nation finally came to an end during the reign of Kenneth. There is little historic information about Kenneth's conquest of the Picts. Some people believe that he defeated them in battle, and others believe he overcame them through intermarriage and more peaceful means. But we do know that the Picts as a nation were entirely wiped out by the Scots, with the few survivors having to flee abroad. A new kingdom was formed after Kenneth took over the kingdom of the Picts. This kingdom's Gaelic name was Alba, which was later replaced with Scotia and Scotland. Like the other kings in this series, Kenneth had forged a nation out of his people, the Scottish people. It's worth noting that Kenneth moved relics from the abandoned abbey on Iona, where Viking raids made life untenable, to Dunkeld, which was the centre of the Church of Scotland in about 848 or 849 AD, according to the Chronicle of the Kings of Alba. This demonstrates how important Kenneth's faith was to him. The coronation stone was also moved from the island to Scone, for which it is referred to as the Stone of Scone. It's also known as the Stone of Destiny. The kingship and the Christian faith were interconnected and part of the establishment of Scotland as a nation. Kenneth's reign is established as a historical fact, and he seems to have been greatly loved by his people. That he was considered a fine king is evidenced by a verse in his honour in the fragmentary Annals of Ireland, written in the early 11th century. Because Kinnaid, Kenneth, with many troops, lives no longer, there is weeping in every house. There is no king of his worth under heaven, as far as the borders of Rome. The thing that Kenneth had in common with the other three kings in this series is that he loved his people and strove to forge them into a Christian nation. Heathenism was all around him, but he managed to found an orderly society with the church at its centre. All four nations of England, Ireland, Scotland and Wales were built upon the rock of Jesus Christ, and this is something that I am now striving to remind people of. Our nations were not built on any other foundation but that. If they had been, they would not have survived. Ultimately, it is God, through his Son, Jesus Christ, that provides our security. If we turn our back on him, we do so at our peril. So, thank you for listening. If you found this video interesting, you can find more information at prophecy-workshop.com.